Hello guys, this is how I'm gonna start my videos. I need to be hands-free, so I got a new machine at the right time. I think what's been going on lately is that I've been going through some things. So let's start at the beginning of the video. Hi, my name is Myra. Welcome to my channel. I've been going through a lot of trauma because found out I might be getting, first it started off with simple things like, oh, I probably have to start get a business license because I'm getting all this money coming in that might affect my benefits and I'm not happy about that, so I better go ahead and do that. Another thing that, so I went ahead and got that done, and so I got my business, and I was thinking, well, I need to buy a sewing machine to help me get my business going so I can make some money. This sewing machine is on, I'm gonna go back to home screen. I don't know what I'm doing on here, I'm still learning it. But anyway, I digress. Let me go back to what I was saying. And so it was all like a process. I was a little stressed out with that. I do, like I said, advocating. That's what I've been doing lately. Advocating, advocating for the people of my with my similar expertise, lived experience. And I'm not going to go into details of what lived experience is, but the basics is if you've lived through some things, you have lived experience. For example, if you've been unhoused, that's what they reference to, unhoused, substance misuse, or behavioral health. Those are usually the terms associated with lived experience, and I have all three of those. So I've been advocating for those people who are my people, as well as sitting on different panels and boards that help with that, as well as doing documentaries and stuff. So one of the boards that I sent on had been asking me to do a lot, and I was stressed out from that. But I sit on multiple boards. If it was just one or two boards, and that's all I was doing, I probably wouldn't be stressed. So coming out of being in recovery was stressful in the beginning. And finally, after some years of being in recovery, I started feeling good enough to where I could start doing more and giving back. So part of that is my stress. Of course, lived through a pandemic, which didn't help with stress. I knew my dad passed away early on, and then while that was happening, other people's stress got put on top of me, and I was on a couple boards already. Then I joined another board, and then just at middle of the pandemic, we started getting back out. I joined. Not only was I on that board as a member, I joined as a working member. And so now I had two working member positions. One of the things I talked about the documentary, I actually got recorded for a podcast. And then that podcast has now turned into something big that's called Elevated Denver. And now I'm a peer producer on Elevated Denver, meaning that I actually, as a peer, help with the producing part, but mostly I help with the interviewing people with lived experience. Alexa, stop. I have one of those. Hopefully, I didn't do anything to yours. And it also means I need to start shutting down my house and cleaning up. That's my alarm to get myself to start progressing in the area of the things I need to do so I can feel comfortable about my everyday life. So that's one of those that helps me shut down everything in here, clean up, or do everything I want to do so that by 8:30, that's when I'm supposed to have another alarm. It goes send me to better. Sends me to my bedroom so I can shut down everything. All lights are off. And then I can start processing and calming down, get my brain to slow down, and so I can go to bed. But back to what I was saying. All those things are going on, and other panels I'm going to do, and all this stuff. So with all those multiple panels, I'm working Elevated Denver, and also working with those two boards. I sit on another board. I'm not even going to mention that board, but one board is related to the other board, which there's like three boards related to that all related, and all has to do with that lived experience. Advocating, we used to be called consumers, and now we're not, but we kind of are. And so these boards and panels that I sit on tend to be overtaxing. So I don't work a full-time job. What I would like to do is use my creative practice and help people that way. Because I think part of what I'm going through is I need that creative practice as a venue for all my stress and stuff. And I haven't had the time to utilize my stress. So one of the big things I want to do is get back to doing art, get back to doing sewing. Sewing is the number one thing that helps me through my process. It helps me, it's very therapeutic for me. So I wanted to be able to sew more. Like, for example, I want to be able to make some things that can be sold alongside my art, but I can't do that if I am spending so much time working on these other things. So this is just me talking about it. I learned from one of my co-friends from one of those 1 or 2 or 3 different committees and boards that it's okay to do some vlogging. So this is what I'm trying to do. This is me trying to vlog, trying to log the stuff that's happening in my life. I should have started the other day when I heard about a co-artist, a part of one of my art groups. So I'm part of a community studio. I'm a core member of that community studio. And that community studio, a lot of us started in the unhoused community, but not everybody talks about their issues as much as I do, or advocates as much as I do. Art is what helps them through the process. And one of our co-artists passed away. And it was devastating for me because that person was in the same program, the living program that I'm in, where I'm through an organization that helped the homeless. And they have a clinic, like it says, healthcare is housing is healthcare. So they provide healthcare and housing, and then some supportive services as well. Well, they had supportive services, and that was part of her program, the one she was in, that provides supportive services, but they weren't supporting her properly. I think that the lack of the support that she needed added on top of the issues that she was going through. Most likely there was some kind of illness that wasn't addressed. That's another issue where part of the supportive services is to be there and to help you make sure that you're getting the help that you need if you're not feeling well. To make sure that if you need a ride, you need help or whatever, that they're providing it. And I don't think that helped, let alone she felt like she was under duress. She had stress from not feeling safe in her living arrangements. She had a great sense of loss of things in her home, and how that was addressed, or the lack of being addressed, caused a lot of stress on top of her. So that bothered me a lot, and that just happened like a couple weeks ago, and I should have talked about it then. We just had on Thursday a therapy circle that was super, super emotional. I am not a type of person that like to be in groups and do all that emotional stuff. I like to handle my emotions by myself, but I don't mind connecting with others. I used to not connect with others. I think it's important to connect with others so that way you can get information exchange, emotion exchange, that connection. You don't have to physically connect, but you like touch. Not for me, because I prefer not to touch, especially when I'm emotional. That, I don't know, that's the opposite, but I will do it for others, but it doesn't help me. And people, I don't think people realize it gives the opposite feeling when I am forced to engage with connections like that when I physically touch. But I do it for others because I went through a program, a 12-step program, and they encourage physical touching. So it's whatever. So anyway, yeah, so that was good and bad. I mean, they did have an activity for us to do to help us process what's happened to this person, and this female, I've already mentioned that it was female, and how it helps them get back to where they belong, or wherever we think they might go, or where we hope that they go, or whatever, regardless of religions or spiritual background. So that way it's not connected, but it was just a ritual activity that the therapist preferred and that knew of, but I was okay because it was still something that helped me with it. So around, I think the day before that, a few days, so it had been within that week, I had, finding out about her, I had already decided to, after finding out about her, I decided to purchase this new sewing machine, and I brought it home. So the day before this meeting, I had just brought this home, and I really wanted to get into this because I knew that I was going to need something. Wanted to get into it the day of all this therapy, but I didn't. I haven't had a chance because I realized there is a lot to learn about this machine. I would love to spend lots of time doing that. So that is 2 to 3 aspects of what's going on in my life and why I feel so overwhelmed, let alone, like I said, my dad passed, the pandemic was a lot. My dad passed away during the pandemic, and I have a lot of his clothes. So that's going to be part of my therapy as well. I need to condense and reduce all the stuff in my house. But one thing that's connected to the person that passed away is I have a lot of stress living here in my living arrangements. The kind of activities happening in my building, the kind of things that are hard to resolve. I feel it's connected. It's not as bad as her building was, but I hear doors slam. I hear people in the hallway. I smell things I shouldn't be smelling. So I have to get up and check and see what's happening outside. If I hear anyone talking loud, because sometimes neighbors have to engage with people that don't belong here, and so that gets stressful, or there's neighbors that's causing problems and I have to engage in there just to calm things down when I really would like to stay in my space and focus on my therapy and making myself feel better. So I think that's an added stress to my life right now. I already added I did reduce some of the things in my life. That was great, but I got so much going on. So I'm trying to give an overview. I know I gave some of it before. I might go over it again, that I have a lot of stresses, but so I have a business. I started my business license. I want to start making, I just learned something called micro business, not a small business, but a micro business. So I think I could manage my life in a micro business, and that's what I want to do. I really want to learn more about micro business and doing things on a small scale, so that way I'm not overwhelmed. So for example, let's say I want to sell jewelry, I want to sell things I sew, and I wanted to and I want to sell my art. Let's just say I didn't even use the right fingers, but you know what I mean. Art is probably going to be art, sewing, and jewelry. Let's say those are the main things that I'm going to do. I also do the advocating and consulting. I've done tech consulting and tech consulting and tech service for people. Like, for example, my consultations is what I call the majority of the things I do. For example, is people need advice on how to buy something. Let's say they're getting ready to buy a new TV, they're getting ready to buy a new computer, they're getting ready to buy a new phone. I try to make recommendations based on those people. I'm not in no ways an expert. I'm just the environment I live in. A lot of people aren't experts. A lot of people don't choose to learn about these things, and once they're from the unhoused or substance misuse or behavioral health, and they finally are starting to get their lives together, they don't know exactly what is happening in the world current. And I'm not as current as I used to be, but I'm current enough to know that there are some things that are a lot easier. For example, smart TVs advanced enough to where you could buy a smart TV that has apps and don't have to use separate devices. Some smart TVs are great. It just depends on how much you use them and what brand you use and which one is good. I used to know all of this. Like just before the pandemic, I was slowing down my technology stuff. So, now I'm really slowing it down. The tech consultant is going to be more. I might have more of that, but my tech service is you have a problem with your phone, your tablet, your TV, and you need me to help. And I charge an hourly rate, and my hour at the time I arrive, that's the cost. If it only takes me 15 minutes, it's 15 minutes. For some friends, I'm nice. Some friends I don't charge, but it's usually that cost in the beginning, and then I stop right there. I give you about an hour and then I'm out. But I have a lot of cancellations because I mostly deal with people that come from the lived experience background, and I don't know, it's just because that lifestyle, you didn't need the importance of being respectful of people's time and being respectful of the service. They don't coincide that if I'm helping them, that to treat me the same way you would treat your doctor, or whoever you have an appointment with that's important. Like if it was an important appointment for you to get something that will help you make money, you would make sure you were there on time. You would miss it. You would make sure you call or cancel. That should be the same with me. And if you don't feel that way, then that's why I'm slowing down on that. But I have all of these things, but I want to do all of this stuff under my business. And I would like to get back into YouTube, not so much as a regular money-making thing, but more for therapeutic and education and, stuff like that. But this is what has been happening in my life. I mentioned all of that. I mentioned my dad passing away, and I was starting to get into that and got sidetracked. I need to, I was telling you about all the things happening in my building. I need to move out and move somewhere that is less stressful, so that if I do want to help people that are like the people that do come in and trespass, I know they're going through things, and I've been through those things. It would be easier for me to want to help them if I wasn't living in the environment. So I need to move, but in order to move, I have to reduce all the stuff, like get rid of my dad's stuff. But I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. I really thought I was gonna be able to take my time and reduce all the things I have in my house and organize and get it together and then move. But I think what I'm gonna have to do is just move with things as is. And that's gonna be a process. And that doesn't mean that I'm gonna probably get rid of stuff on my move, but most likely, let me just pack up things as is. And once I move, go through things one box at a time, that's a lot of stress as well. But if I moved, that'll be great. I'm gonna reduce, like I said, a lot of my advocating. I really wanna turn my advocating and helping and being of service, pull all that out and put it towards a creative way to help people. Whether you're on the streets, whether you're living in a building, whether you're a senior, whether you're children, I'd rather use my creative adventure so that way I still have time for creativity and use it towards people and help them process the way I'm able to process. Not everybody's going to utilize any of those things, but that's only 3 things that I do. I'm not great at making jewelry and bracelets, but it's not complicated. You can get some tools, have a lot of tools. It took a little while at first. My favorite one is making bracelets, and those are easy. You don't need a lot of tools. You just need the beads, the cord, and some glue to make sure it stays together. That's about it. So it's easy to make those, even if all you're making is like the kids' bracelets. With the one stuff you get from the Dollar Tree. You can get a lot of this stuff from the Dollar Tree and make stuff like that. But you can do sewing, you can do embroidery, you can just do mending. Mending is one of those things too that helps me. So I want to take all my energy, put it towards that so I don't feel so stressed. So after doing all this talking, all this is just to explain to you that I'm ready to change my life, and that I just wanted to talk about what's happening in my life. Hopefully this will help me, and I got a chance to get it all out. If you liked any of the things I said, you're welcome to give it a thumbs up. If you have some comments, some positive comments, please, constructive criticism, unless I know you will, I would prefer you stick to suggestions, not constructive criticisms. You can suggest some things that I can do, and I'd love to hear your suggestions, all of them, without the criticism. And then, of course, if you like hearing me talk, you're welcome to subscribe, or give me some suggested channels to follow, or anything you want. And thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Hope you have a wonderful day, evening, night, week, month, year. Talk to you later. Peace.